Buddhism Core Episode 6 Grow in Dharma. Today is July 17, 2020. Now, I have already started to integrate information into the internet. I will continue to correct. I will send the link to you and you will store it on your internet in your Google Drive. In your free time, you sit and listen as I said. Wherever you like, listen to it over and over again. Listening to the Dharma is a complete practice within oneself. It's not that practice requires an action or a gesture. The best practice is listening to the Dharma, because listening to the Dharma involves yoniso and contemplating the Dharma, understanding and considering the Dharma all the time, listening to the Dharma for Dharma wisdom, taking Dharma wisdom from the wise, that is, a Buddha, etc. The Buddha preached the Dharma. The Buddha explained the origin of the reason why we cycle through birth and death. How can we not be born? What are the consequences of not being born? The Buddha has explained everything completely. We have a duty to listen and try to understand. The Buddha pointed out that Dharma exists in the mind. We consider it in our minds. We listen and understand and also look at our minds. Don't send your mind outside. Set the mind to look within. It means to look at your emotions, to look at your own thoughts. What do you think comes up in your mind? What are you talking about in your mind? While you are listening to the Dharma, listening for a moment and you think, I want to go to the toilet. You have the feeling that you want to go to the toilet. Do you see that the mind wants to go to the toilet? Sometimes, while you are listening to the Dharma, you think, let's go see the dog outside first. What is the dog barking at? This is your mind is speaking alone, feeling alone, and thinking alone in your mind. While hearing the sound of a dog barking, you realize you are feeling that. The manipulated mind is saying, what is the dog barking at? Has anyone come in? And then you move your body to see if there's anything outside. Can you feel that you are thinking that? You want to move your body and look for something outside. This is a thought that has been manipulated in the mind. It cooks it all up is a symptom that the mind commands. That is, it speaks and understands and then seeks. Then it orders a body to move in order to know something and to be out of doubt. This is a manipulation that the mind has created. Is continually garnished all the time. While listening, you feel in your heart that would it be better to go buy pad thai this lunch? Or you think that you want to eat papaya salad, or you want to eat fruits or something like this. You immediately visualize the thing. For example, you want to eat mangoes, and then there's a picture of mangoes pop up in your mind. Then you feel you want to eat mangoes. When these pictures pop up in your mind, you realize to know that you are thinking in this way now. This is called spiritual viewing or seeing the mind. Seeing the symptoms of the mind that it thinks. This mind was his pure nature. He has his usual embellishments. This true mind is nature knowing. He only has a duty to know is a feeling, knowing through eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, knowing that I feel something. The eye sees forms like this. We only see. We know only. We know that. That is what is called the mind. That is, the mind is knowing. Knowing through the window is the ear. If there is a sound that hits it, I know that this sound has come in. We are already aware of that sound and then have an idea of what the sound is. It is the sound of some birds. It is the sound of a dog or a cat. It is the voice of someone calling, something like this, etc. This is a modified idea to vary what the sound is. This natural knower only has a duty to know. Knowing through the nose is called smell. Knowing through the mouth is called taste. Physical knowledge is called touch. Some cold, some hot, some normal temperature, felt through the body. Here are all these feelings. It has a duty to just know that, like that. Here, if we simply know that and we do not manipulate it, or if we manipulate it, we know that our mind is enriching it to vary what it is. What is this? Gives value, gives meaning. There is a picture pop up in your mind, or you are imagining a picture, for example, saying that Wat Rong Khun is a very, very beautiful temple. Superb art, white, beautiful. Is very beautiful to look into. Who has never been should go. When we talk about things like this, it will have a Wat Rangkhun temple image pop up in your mind. And if we have been there, you will have that picture already. You saw Ajahn Cherem Chai standing. It's all set. This is it. Do you feel that you are thinking this way? When the enlightened teachers say something, we will create a vision in the mind immediately. What we cannot visualize, we will consider it in order to try to understand what is being said. This makes us realize that we feel that way, seeing symptoms like that. This is to look at the mind, that is to look at it this way. This mind is the nature of a knowing, that is, it has a duty to know only, and Citta Sankhara is the action of the mind. Citta Sankhara is a natural symptom that is paired with the mind, inseparable from each other. Citta Sankhara did some mood enhancements. He concocted it as an idea. He created it according to the cause, the factors, according to the conditions, according to the remember he had made. And then Citta Sankhara giving a value of that. What is it? That is an image appearing in the mind, giving value that is right or wrong, good or bad, should or not, charity or sin, etc. Let the next value be abstract to break out a lot, and happiness and suffering from that value. For example, we see the situation and we value this situation. Oh man, why do you hit a boy like this? What will you do with this boy if his leg is broken? You shouldn't use a wood stick to hit this boy. It's enough to use your hand to hit this stubborn boy. It's not right to use a wood stick. When we see the picture of this situation, this picture has been known through the eyes to the mind. That's all we can see, and then we value that what we see is like this. This is an idea to give value. When the thought is finished, it will become an emotion, like and dislike. Then happiness or sorrow, anger or love. Sometimes we see symptoms like this happen. We become angry instead of this stubborn boy, and we want to walk in and do something with the man who is hitting this stubborn boy. We are happy or unhappy because our minds are manipulated. Our minds are manipulated all the time. Seeing our minds are manipulated like this is not forbidding the mind to be manipulated, but we see the truth and know the truth that our minds are being manipulated in this way. If we see that, our minds are manipulated in this way. You don't have to do anything, just seeing that our minds are manipulated like this. There will be a certain state of mind is happening. Before, we have never seen our own mind is thinking like this, but if we can see it, there will be some condition known as bro in the Dharma is happening. The mind understands the mind. The mind sees the mind. It will cause a condition called blow in the Dharma, being attained enlightenment according to the apparent power, clear or not clear. You can see the origin of your mind's manipulation. If you see the origin of your mind's manipulation, you will feel there is a symptom is appearing up in your mind. After that, you will think, what is the value of this symptom? You will give the value of this symptom. After giving the value, the symptom will become an emotion that you call anger. In fact, this symptom is not really named anger, but this symptom is a feeling like there is some symptom is appearing in your mind. When you see this symptom is appearing in your mind for the first time, you will see the origin of your mind's manipulation. You will see the ripple of your mind. When we see the ripple of the mind, when the first ripple of the mind is starting to ripple, we will see immediately. When you see the first ripple of the mind is starting to ripple, your enlightenment will occur immediately. Blow in the Dharma is appearing. The mind will light up. It will be a new knowledge that is very strange understanding. The mind understands the mind itself. The mind sees the mind itself. The mind sees the truth that everything is created by the mind itself. Even though the mind has never seen itself before, the mind thinks only and flows with its thinking. A natural knower knows the mind's thinking and flows with the mind's thinking, flowing with stories that the mind thinks to continue to give value, then enjoy with happiness and sorrow of giving value. If the mind is aware, the mind will eject, come out and sit and watch what the mind is thinking. The thinking of the mind is still concocted, spoken, given the value, and given the mood, but a knower knows it will look indifferent. It will jump out and look at it. Hey, my mind is being refined right now, having some mood, having some happiness, getting angry, or just a little annoyed. The mind is aware. It will see the symptoms of the mind that it is. Thoughts are concocted, valued, and said. That uncle did a bad thing, did it wrong, and shouldn't do it. How can he use a stick to hit a small kid? I will have to go in and deal with it right now. Your thoughts are said like this. you also started to feel angry. Do you see symptoms like this? See the thoughts you are saying. Do you see the value that the mind gives to the non-thing? The value is that that is very old man, that is a really small kid, that is really wood stick in doing something really. Here, the mind gives its value and then has a real self. This is called the ego. Self has happened. When the mind sees something happen, thoughts are the nature of the mind. The mind is always thinking normally, but the point is that we hold on to the thought and we think it really exists. This is avijja. Avijja, the ignorance of the mind. So avijja is the cause of birth and death, being happy and being sad. Avijja starts a story. When we become aware of the symptoms that the mind thinks like that and feeling like that, you see the symptom that the mind flows with the thoughts. This symptom is called upatan. Upatan, which is the adherence to the thoughts, seeing the symptom that the mind flows with the thoughts without awareness. When we are aware, we are consciousness, ourself, which means we know the feeling. When we are aware of it, we are aware of it at that moment. The mind is being manipulated like that. The mind was flowing with that matter, while realizing that how the mind will eject. It is the moment when the mind is released from avijja, released from ignorance. It will be the moment when the mind can be a temporary nirvana, and then you will see the fact that, oh, this kind of symptom is called the mind flow. This symptom is called the mind not flowing. The mind is only the conscious, the knower, the awakened, the joyful. The knower, the awakened, means a nature knower, or means a mind is awakened and aware. This is called the mind is the knower, the awakened. When the mind wakes up, the mind will see the mind's thinking. It will cause a feeling of exhilaration. What a wonderful happiness. Here it has to happen by itself. We have to see by ourselves. If we see for ourselves, we will know for ourselves what it is. It will be understood, no doubt about it. In our understanding of the Dhamma at our stage that we already understood at that time. If anyone listens to the Dhamma very much, he can take a deep understanding of the Dhamma. He saw the mind only one time and he understood all the doubts at that moment. It's over means he understood that, oh, a natural knower is not related with a natural thinker. A natural knower is a natural knower by itself. No language can speak of this nature. It cannot be explained. It already exists. It knows all the time. If you don't know, it means you are dead. You are not alive. You live because you know, right? You can say that knowing is life. A natural knower or a mind, it is alive. This nature already exists. This nature is inexplicable. Where life is, I don't know, but it is already alive. Cannot explain what life is. Where is it? I cannot explain, because when we try to explain, try to understand life, try to understand the mind, it turned out to be the thoughts, to be the ideas, to be Citta Sankhan that we are thinking in order to give value to something that has been known. A natural knower doesn't need an explanation. It doesn't need language. It doesn't need words like, oh, everyone has the mind. Everyone's mind is a natural knower. It really exists. The word "it really exists" is a language that is created to value something that cannot be spoken, to be discussed with humans in order to understand. The point is here. So let's make it clear here, seeing that the mind or a natural knower is not born and not dead. Thinking is a cycle of birth and death. This thinking makes up all the stories. When the mind can understand itself like this, a mind would be enlightened, and a mind would be completely, no doubt, full. Achieving Dharma is simple. Cry tears. Pay respect to the Buddha. Here, it will be like this. This episode will focus only on the mind. No matter how much we go to listen to the Dharma or how many enlightened teachers we go to meet, the point is that we have to see the mind. We have to see the Dharma. Seeing Dharma is seeing our mind, seeing the symptoms of thinking, seeing the symptoms that the mind has concocted, seeing the emotions of the mind, that the mind has emotions, some angry, some indifference, some happiness, some suffering. If we see the mood of the mind, seeing the symptoms that the mind is thinking, speaking in mind all the time, giving value for everything, that's what we call seeing the mind, known as seeing the work of the mind, known as seeing the Dharma. When we continually see the Dharma, seeing mental symptoms continuously, that's called seeing the mind. Seeing the truth, knowing the truth that the symptoms of the mind are manipulated like that. We see the truth of the mind because we don't flow with the thought. We don't take seriously that the thought is really like that surely. Seeing the truth of the mind means what we come up with something, such as we think, let's go out to the market for a bit. That's what we thought in the mind. You are thinking, I will have to go to the market for a while, buy some vegetables, buy some fish and put them in the fridge. Now the food in the refrigerator is gone. If you see the thought that you are thinking like this, If you see the thought is speaking in the mind like this, you are thinking that you want to go out to buy food at the market. While you are thinking, you are seeing a symptom that suddenly comes to mind. This symptom means going to the market. If you can see this symptom, that's very good. It's a symptom of the awakened mind. The awakened mind ejects itself from the thoughts. It becomes being the one sitting and watching the thoughts. The thoughts are called Citta Sankhara. The awakened mind watches Citta Sankhara, which is thinking and giving value to everything all the time. While you are flowing into the thoughts, while you are flowing into Citta Sankhara, what are you thinking about? Then you are flowing into that thought. While you are flowing, you are realizing that now you are flowing into that thought. You are realizing that now you are flowing into Citta Sankhara. You know yourself that you are thinking what about? I mean, we have to think. Humans must think. It is the nature of human beings to think. But we think and know that we are thinking right now. We know what we are thinking about. We have to interact with the people in human society. For example, we are thinking about selling products. We think whoever comes to buy our products, we sit and think. We talk with the customers. We ask the customers, what product do you want? The customers want that product. We pick up that item for customers and we talk and interact with each other for living in the human society. While we are talking or we are thinking, if we see what we are thinking right now, we realize that we are flowing with that thought right now and we see it. We know that we are flowing with that thought. We know that we are flowing with Citta Sankhara. We see that thought making a story like that. While we are seeing that thought will be stopped. When it stops thinking, we also see it stops thinking too. And for a moment, for a while, the thoughts come back to think again, and it says, oh, this is the thought. But we also see the idea that it is saying, oh, the idea is this. These words, the mind come up with. We see this saying and it says, oh, I see it again. Oh, is this the overlapping idea? Here, we can also see this idea that it says, this is how complex thinking is. Here, we can see this idea as well. When we see this, we will see the saying in the mind that, oh, the idea always gives the worth, the old idea. A new idea is born for the old idea, and a new idea is born for the old idea. While we are comprehending our own mind, teaching ourselves, we see that we are thinking this way. Therefore, the Yoniso understands the mind. It is called looking at the mind. While we are looking at the mind and seeing the mind, we are also Yoniso to understand it. That is, we speak in our hearts as well, so that we can teach ourselves to understand the Dharma that we have seen and we have known already. when we see an idea, we understand it. Teach yourself, oh, my thoughts are like this. The idea is like this. We see the idea and we say we see the idea. After that, you will come to understand and say again, oh, I am still thinking the idea again. This idea is giving the value of the last idea. After that, we are still thinking again, even though we speak in our hearts. All this we say in our hearts. Oh, we are still thinking again. Yep, we think we understand. Oh, is it like this? In conclusion, understanding has no form. It is some symptom that suddenly pops up and then is over. Oh, I got it. The feeling that comes up, or even the new thought that is giving the value of being understood. These are still the same ideas. The point is that the idea must understand the thought. It's very strange. It's actually very common. The thought thinks that itself is thinking, and then the thought thinks that itself is understood, and then the thought thinks that itself sees itself. But a natural knower doesn't say anything. A natural knower, it only knows that it is knowing. It knows that it is seeing, and then it separates itself into a knower person. And the idea that arises in the present, it arises from what a knower person sees and what a knower person knows to enhance this understanding. This understanding comes from the mind, or a natural knower has created a ripple of understanding of something, cook the understanding up, and give the value of the understanding by based on thinking, relying on improvements, relying on citta sankhan to give a value of understanding to teach itself. It gives a value to teach itself that all of the understanding, we are still thinking as the same here. Here, you will also see this understanding. When the thought says in the heart that it has understood already, the thought also sees itself that it is saying it has understood already. When the thought says, oh, all understanding is still being the same thought, and then the thought also sees these words speaking in the heart. These thoughts are being seen all the time. The thought is teaching itself to understand itself. Thought about this story. Thought about that story. Thought over and over. This is what you will see in your mind. You will see this, and then you will know that you cannot conclude anything from any understanding or any thoughts. You can only do knowing. หลวงปู่สังวาลเขมปัตโต Speaking with his slight accent, หลวงปู่ said that to be a noble person, just know only. หลวงปู่ always said knowing, knowing, and knowing. In the past, I didn't understand what หลวงปู่ said, but every day it's like this is I know only, and I do not do anything with the idea. I see every thought and every moment. I see it all the time, but I do not give a value that, oh, now I have seen the idea. Oh, I got it. It doesn't say it at all. The thoughts will not say this word because I see it all the time. Because of saying it, it's still the same idea. Teaching yourself is still the same idea too. But at the beginning of seeing the idea for new people. This must be seen often, and you have to teach yourself often. You must see that you are thinking of giving value to something. You have to teach yourself. While teaching yourself, you must see that you are teaching yourself too. Don't take it for real that you are really see that idea. Don't take it for real that is really yourself to see that idea, because it doesn't have you at all. To be frank, no one is seeing anything. No one is seeing anyone. No mind is seeing the mind. No idea to see the idea. This is if I say it to the end, but if I say straightforward like this, the listeners will not be able to understand. So let it be the mind seeing the mind. Let it be the idea seeing the idea. And let it be like this for speaking to people to understand first. The listeners, you must understand to see the symptoms of this mind first. After that, when the listeners or you begin to know how to see the symptoms of their own minds already. In the next step, while you are listening to the Dharma tape, you are also trying to understand the mind at the same time. While I am speaking, I am explaining the Dharma about the mind. You listen to me and imagine following what I am explaining. Thinking follows my speaking to be a picture, to be a voice saying in your heart. For example, oh, it's right. Oh, it's wrong. Oh, it's like that. Yep, it's like this. Do you see that you are thinking follow me? Do you see that you are understanding what I said? You must see the symptom that you are listening to this Dharma tape, and then you must see the symptom that you are thinking following this Dharma tape. You must see the symptom of your understanding suddenly coming up in your mind. Understanding is feeling like this. You have to know this symptom. Listen and understand the mind as well. Listen and understand the mind as well. The benefit of this practice is the enlightenment of the Dharma is much faster and faster. Instead of building our own Dharma wisdom by ourselves, we don't have to. We have only one duty to receive the Dharma wisdom. Receive the Dharma wisdom, and then we consider the Dharma wisdom to compare with your own experiences, compare with your own knowledge to be easier and faster understanding. Metaphors also understand our minds. Listen to the Dharma wisdom as much as possible, and we also try to understand our minds at the same time. If you can catch the issue of the Dharma which you like it, and then you just focus on that, try to listen to that tape over and over again. Try to listen more often, and then you take a look at your mind. Listening to the Dharma tape will lead you to an understanding of the Dharma very quickly. You will be able to achieve enlightenment faster and faster. Listening to the Dharma tape is better than anything. Finally, the important point of the Dharma tape 6 is to listen to the Dharma tape often. Think according to the Dharma tape. Think to be images. Think to be a voice in your mind. And after that, consider the Dharma that is heard to be understood as much as possible, deep in your mind. At every moment of this practice, you must know what you are thinking, seeing that you are thinking, seeing that you are trying to understand the mind. Listen to Dharma tapes often and often, and practice this practice often and often. It will make your enlightenment easier, faster, and more relevant to the point of looking at the mind. Seeing you in the next episode. For today, I have to say สวัสดีครับ